Think about your actual GPS for a second. It has a location history, right? Places that you've been to or searched for before. And it has home, saved for quick reference. That is the easiest set of directions to get, home. But guess what it doesn't have pre-filled? The place that you haven't decided that you want to go yet. So without clearly defining your why, you cannot enter that into the GPS or begin intentionally upping the thermostat in alignment with it. So that is what needs to happen. But how can you do each of those three things? Remember, failure was part of the objective of entering the gym this morning.
Are there things in your business that are worse off for having you involved in them?
How can I use my business as a way to be there for my family more?
Those outputs can only be reined in and intentionally developed or directed by managing the inputs.
Forced us eventually to take over 2 years of our life to dig out of just to get to zero.
You don't have the things from the places you haven't gone to.
Treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. The flies come for the poo, right? There's a push-pull effect with all of your marketing, and it needs to be pushing away the customers that are not a good fit and drawing in the ones that are.
Hey, welcome to all of you bandits and chilies. This episode is called The GPS Problem. Mostly, your literal GPS is pretty spot on, right? You punch a destination into Google Maps and it tells you how far it is and the best route options pretty much instantly. Then, as you're driving, if there are issues, traffic congestion, an accident, speed cameras, roadworks, all that good stuff, it lets you know and will update your ETA or even suggest a better route to switch to. It's fantastic. But every now and then, the GPS does something really stupid. The kind of stupid that only an algorithm can manage. For example, you miss a turn and it recalculates your route to send you half an hour down the road so that you can turn around and come back. Or there's two similar destination matches and it assumes that you are wanting the one that is on a different continent to you. But hey, overall, it's an incredible technology that practically no one fully understands, and yet we all use it. Okay, so that's a GPS. Now, let me introduce two other concepts here, and then we're going to blend them all together so that we can see this GPS problem. The next concept is a great analogy made by Tony Robbins of our internal thermostat. Imagine that within your head, there is a thermostat which is turned on and set to a specific temperature. This thermostat can represent literal numbers or more nebulous concepts, but it relates to your identity. Some of the specific numbers that are on this thermostat relate to your finances, your weight, the time range between certain activities that you consider to be virtues or vices. Let's take money as an example to flesh this out. Your internal thermostat dictates your comfort zone. When you surpass this point, your subconscious strives to bring you back to familiar territory, to your identity range. I'm originally from Ballarat, which is a gold rush town, and they had a saying on the goldfields. Men would make their fortune in a day and spend it in a week. Now, there's lots of factors to that. The men concerned likely had no precedent for financial literacy or handling the sudden influx of wealth that a gold nugget would bring. The entire economy surrounding them was really based around wasteful spending. The ratio of pubs to the population fluctuated roughly between one pub to every 46 to 120 people. So there's all of that. But also, the dirt poor miner who came with dreams of gold didn't suddenly become a lord or baron upon acquiring his fortune. His thermostat was still set at what he was used to. His identity was not as quick to shift as his net worth had been. Any kind of temporary shift in your finances, up or down, can be like opening a window. The hot or cold air rushes in from the outside and impacts that internal climate. But if the thermostat setting is not changed, as soon as that temporary event passes and the window closes, then the temperature, or in this case, the finances, will reset themselves to that predetermined level. Again, this is an analogy of identity. We all operate within certain identity ranges. If we step outside of those comfortable and familiar parameters, our system can freak out and feel the need to correct matters. Alright, so we've got the GPS and the thermostat in our blender now, but before we turn that on, we need to add your why. What is the purpose of your business? Why are you doing the things that you are doing? What are you hoping to accomplish? What is your why? Alright, GPS, thermostat, why. What can happen is that your why might be really hard to define. It might shift over time. You might think it is one thing and then it turns into another. Or maybe you just lose focus of it during the day-to-day and week-to-week struggles of doing the things that your business demands of you. You start to be really reactive when moving towards your why demands proactivity. Whatever the reason, if you lose sight of your why, the GPS of your business reroutes based on your identity thermostat, and all of a sudden, it is directing you towards your current location. It is routing back home. It is telling you to do that stupid U-turn in 17 kilometers time. Your internal GPS is trying to take you back to your current identity zone because that is where it's most comfortable. To reach a new destination, you need to upgrade your identity layers and act like the version of yourself that already lives there. See, what should be happening is that your why should be the guiding principle behind all of your decisions. Does this thing bring me closer to or put me further from my why? Should you run ads? Should you add on another service? Should you hire that employee? If you measure all of those sorts of decisions through the lens of your why, then they become really simple and clear answers. But I have had several clarity calls lately. By the way, book your free clarity call, link in the description. And most people don't really know what their why is. They have a sense of what they think that they should want, but often they are just so caught up in trying to grow their business that they haven't even defined the end goal. I was talking to one guy who keeps saying that he wants to add gutter cleaning to his pressure washing business. We've dug into this topic and his situation and his objectives, and it just does not make sense for him to do that. He can achieve everything he wants to achieve right now, most effectively in a straight line with his existing setup. He just needs to sell more pressure washing jobs. But he keeps coming back to this idea. Something within him is in conflict with his stated why. And hey, look, that's probably true of all of us. But guess what? If you don't define your why, you can't even catch that problem. It's like you're in the car just mindlessly following the GPS and you aren't even aware that your destination was from one part of town to another part of town. So you don't recognize the problem when you look out the window and you see cows and windmills and rolling hills with no houses. Knowing your why doesn't solve all of the problems that you might have in sticking to it, but it at least allows you to identify that, hey, I don't think that there was supposed to be a cattle grid, a four-wheel drive track, and an emu in my why. Think about your actual GPS for a second. It has a location history, right? Places that you've been to or searched for before. And it has home, saved for quick reference. That is the easiest set of directions to get, home. But guess what it doesn't have pre-filled? The place that you haven't decided that you want to go yet. So without clearly defining your why, you cannot enter that into the GPS or begin intentionally upping the thermostat in alignment with it. So that is what needs to happen. But how can you do each of those three things? First up, foundationally, what is your why? To work this out, you basically just keep asking yourself, why? Why am I in business? Because I want to make $1 squillion. Why? So that I can buy this thing and do those things. Why? So that. See where this path leads you. It might not be where you expect it to lead you. You might have a faux why, this idea that you're supposed to want a particular thing. Don't get caught up worrying about your why being somehow correct, whatever that would mean. Just follow the path of whys and so that's and see where it leads you. Take a moment right now. What is your true why? What's the story you tell yourself about why you are in business? How does that story align or clash with where you find yourself today, right now? If you cannot get a really solid, clear answer to this, Google Ikigai Venn diagram. That's IKIGAI Venn diagram. The concept is superficially quite self-explanatory, but it also goes as deep as you want to. But just start by writing out a list in each of the different categories and then see where there are overlaps. This might not give you the street address of your destination, but it will put you in the right neighborhood. Get going, and then you can refine the destination as you go, as you move closer. Second up is to enter your why into your GPS. Now, what does that mean? It simply means making it a practice to evaluate all of your business decisions around your why. Don't just do stuff. There's always lots of stuff that you could be doing. There's always opportunities and new shiny objects and so forth. But ask yourself that plumb line question: will this bring me closer to or put me further from my why? This enables your GPS to keep updating to traffic conditions to allow for congestion, roadworks, to find a quicker route. But if you just go along making random turns, the why is still there. The destination is still there, but you might be moving away from it or driving so that you are seemingly always 2 hours away from reaching your destination. You need to follow that question to actually take those directions from your GPS, because there's no benefit in knowing where you are going if you still choose not to go there. Lastly, upping that identity thermostat in alignment with this why, this destination. Imagine that you're going to a wedding. You've put it into the GPS and it is a 30-minute drive. Would you head off in your pajamas and then get changed into your suit or dress once you reached the church? No, right? You would get yourself dressed and ready and then drive the 30 minutes to the wedding. You prepare yourself for the context that you are about to enter in advance. So, to turn the dial up on your identity thermostat in whatever category it may be, happiness, business, health, family, whatever, you need to get dressed for success. Similar to the Plumline GPS question for your why, ask yourself, how would the version of me who already has/is blank, how would they handle this? How would he react? What would he do? What would he be spending his time on? I remember when I was about 7 years old, one of my brothers bought a PlayStation 2. Welcome to the 21st century. And one of the first games that we were playing on it was Gran Turismo 3, which had insanely good graphics for the time. Anyway, there was an option to have a ghost car, which was either a demo ideal of how to take the corners, etc., or it was the ghost of your previous best lap. It really helped to improve your lap time because you could see and compare. Brake now, lead into that corner a little further to the right, too slow on the accelerator coming around that last bend. Imagine living your day-to-day with that ghost version representing your ideal or representing your personal best. Slow down here, devices off, go to bed, wake up a little earlier, shift your focus a little to the right. Don't beat yourself up about your perceived shortcomings, but just be aware of the fact that the version of yourself who occupies the level that you are striving for is not entirely different from you. A few key habits, some changes in language, both out loud and self-talk, and the decision-making process. Notice when you fall into habits or excuses of the old you. You don't need to self-flagellate, just recognize it as a data point. The thermostat is a little cool in here. Not, you freaking moron, when will you learn, you pathetic pool of putrid pus? This is commonly referred to as awareness without judgment. Next, you can add curiosity without criticism. Why did that old me trait crop up just now? Why now? What need was he trying to fill? What might have triggered that response? Curiouser and curiouser. Then treat yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. If this was your son or your wife or your best friend's cousin's employer's butler, you would probably give them a bit more grace than you would tend to give yourself. You might be inclined to remind them that they are not perfect and that slipping up is okay and that they are not broken and that they are human and that this one failing doesn't make them a failure and so on. Do that. Then re-anchor to that higher identity which you are pursuing. Maybe take a line of advice that your future self may give you in that moment. Like, none of this will matter in 5 years' time, or face the hard things head on. Then take a small intentional or corrective action. Small actions that align with your bigger picture are what moves your thermostat settings. Just as you tap a button with your finger and the whole house gets warmer, small intentional actions, especially when it feels hard, will work to acclimate your system to a higher internal thermostat setting. Combine this with the energy episode and celebrating the small wins, you can give your central nervous system a celebratory cocktail of hormones which serve to encode that event as favorable. So celebrate the small wins on your larger journey. Lastly, remember that your internal thermostat does not exist in a vacuum. Your environment, the people around you, the content that you consume, what you focus your attention on will all nudge that setting up or down. Surround yourself with people and resources that are edifying and uplifting to your identity. That's it. Have an awesome day. Make someone else's day awesome. I love you just the appropriate amount, like take whatever is weird and then take a healthy step backwards from that line. That is exactly how much. If it's weird, you're the weirdo. Catch ya. Bye. Hey, you're a family-oriented business grower. You should join our free group for family-oriented business growers. It's like the perfect place for someone your size and shape. Join via warplan.au, link in the description, and whilst you're there you can book a free clarity call with me to help identify the next 3 dominoes you need to knock over in your business.